Hey, what's up, good people? How you doing? Welcome back to Stock Up with Larry Jones. Just jumped out of the car, dressed like I was when I was a kid with the jacket and the shorts. Remember when Mom used to make us do that back in the 70s? But listen, I'm going to talk about stocks and crypto, and then I'm going to give my inspiration. I love sunny days. I may duck in the shade here, but let's just talk about the market. So, listen, we know that the big dog, NVIDIA, had their earnings report. And we know that they beat, right? They actually had a really, really good earnings report. But the street expected more. The street expected more. And so they knocked the ball out of the park, right? But the ball didn't just fall in the street in front of the ballpark, which is still a home run. The street expected the ball to go another block further. And because they just knocked it out of the park and the ball didn't go a block further, then the stock price actually began to fall. To a lot of people, that made no sense. A lot of people think that that's market manipulation and all of that. But it's kind of quite common when the expectation is so high. And so just get used to that. There's nothing we can do about that, but there's still money to be made. Now, I have a lot of NVIDIA that I've had for years, like many of you. I don't know what Tuesday is going to bring because Monday, the market is closed on Monday. So let's see what Tuesday looks like for NVIDIA. The good part is that other big tech didn't tank like NVIDIA did. Now, long term, I believe NVIDIA is going to be higher than this. As a matter of fact, I believe as early as November, NVIDIA will be back up to 140. That's what I believe if I had to price predict, which I don't do. I'm not doing all of these price predictions like I did in 2021, because all it is just you really guessing, because a news story can come out with a new chip or a failing chip and all bets are off the table. Okay, so let's see what the market tells us on Tuesday, because Monday's a holiday, and I believe that Tuesday will be back to business as normal. All right, usual. So we had a lot of inflation data come out over the last couple of weeks, and the fact is that inflation is falling. And because inflation is falling, the Fed will lower interest rates starting September 18. I'll put these back on. I got these allergy eyes. So the Fed will lower interest rates. I believe that by the end of this year, it will be 75 basis points. And I know a lot of people want 100. I believe it'll be 75. So that's good for home loans. It's good for car loans, etc. Right? So inflation is coming down, but the Fed is slow to lower interest rates, just like the Fed was slow to raise interest rates. I did not panic sell. I am 100% against panic selling, because every time I've panic sold in the past, it wound up being the worst decision that I could make. Now, what I'm doing is looking for opportunities in September being one of the worst months. I'm looking for opportunity, and I am stocking up. Not just stocking up, I'm going to be buying, but I'm actually just continually putting money into the broker account. But deep into September and even into October, I'm going to be looking to buy more NVIDIA. I'm chill right now on NVIDIA. I'm looking for a dip, right? I'm looking for a dip, and I'm looking for that dip to come in September-ish, right? And then I may be selling some in November, it being an election year, because historically September is one of the worst months. And right behind that, November winds up being a good month. You let me know what you think about that strategy, okay? Let's talk about crypto. Crypto is not looking good right now, right? It keeps doing these sell-offs and these flash crashes, and I buy these flash crashes, right? I told the Patreon, I buy these flash crashes. and they represent opportunity to me. Whenever I see something down, Solana, even Bunk, but Solanas, the Ondos, I see anything that goes down more than 5 to 7%, I buy a little more. That's me. Now, all of my crypto buying will be done by the end of September. All of my crypto buying. As a matter of fact, 95% of my crypto buying will be done by the time the Fed lowers interest rates. It doesn't matter what you're buying. It doesn't matter if it's Link. It doesn't matter if it's Bitcoin. It doesn't matter if it's Ethereum. It will all be done. It doesn't matter if it's the meme coins, even the Shiba Inus and the Doge coins or the XRPs. It doesn't matter what you're in. All right. So I personally will have it all done because, just like I've been telling you guys, I've been dollar cost averaging every day, and some of you every week. But I am sticking to my plan to have it all in, all my money in. And there may be future flash crashes after that. But at some point, you have to know, okay, I got enough in. And Larry, are you 100% sure it's going up? No, I'm not. And no one is. But all I know is that if the cycles stay on path like they have in the past, then the true bull run of crypto is next year. And I'm willing to be patient and wait on that. And if it doesn't happen, I'm holding for another cycle, right? So I don't have money that I need in crypto that I need in the next 3 years. And I suggest you do the same thing. All right. So scared money don't make money, right? It just don't, right? And so you got to understand that everything has some risk, but you and I can calculate our risk. So that's what I'm going to say about crypto. There's no hot buys. I bought a little, I bought a little more Bunk when it went down like 8% the other day, and I bought a little more Solana. It went down like 7% the other day. Okay, so I just keep buying a little more, not big chunks, just a little, right? And then, like I said, by September, I'm going to be finished because I'm done putting in, right? And now I'm in the point where I'm just waiting. I go in heavier early. I was going in heavier last year when no one wanted to touch Bitcoin, when no one wanted to touch Ethereum and Solana. That's when I started going in heavy. So I go in heavy early, just like I did in 2021 with Shiba Inu. And that's how I made all of the money that I did. And a lot of you guys followed, right? So enough with that, right? I am going to, and I know I'm saying all right a lot, I'm going to put a tip jar in there. There's certain words I'm going to just put $1 in every time I repeat something. And I'm just going to bless you guys. I'm going to just ask you for your cash apps, and we're going to see what it is by the end of the month. All right, let's talk about my inspirational, okay? For those of you that don't know, that on Sundays, I cheerfully give an inspiration. And I am a believer, and I'm unapologetically a believer. And I'm a follower of Christ. And if this is going to offend you, this being a financial station, then go ahead and you can go ahead and cut it off. But if you just want to stick around and listen to what I have to say, I believe it'll help you. Okay, I'm gonna tell you about 3 stories, and I'm sorry, this one is going to be a little different. 3 short little stories. One story, there was a king that didn't do well, right? And he was elected by the people. But God knew he wasn't a good king. And so this king was on his way out, right? And so God told this man to go anoint a new king. But this king, I'm going to choose. And when I choose him, I want you to anoint him, right? So he sends this man to this gentleman's house. This gentleman brings his son, and his first son was tall and handsome, like tall, dark, and handsome. This story really resonates with today. He was the supermodel that you see. He was the cute tall guys, you light-skinned brothers. All right. I'm just paraphrasing, having a little fun. Okay. So this man goes and he calls his sons. As a matter of fact, 7 of them. He's showing them all his sons. And remember, God sent this man to this man's house to anoint a new king. And he says, none of these guys are it. None of these guys are it. He says, do you have any more sons? He says, yeah, I got one. He's out tending with the sheep. If I brought that in today, he's the male guy, right? You on the football team, he's the water boy, right? Oh, he's the guy that he can't hang with us. He's not with the cool kids. He's not with the cool girls. That gentleman's name was David. He brought him in and he anointed him because he was God's anointed. That's story number 1. Story number 2, there was another situation where there was this big giant. He was a Philistine and he was tormenting his enemy, right? He was tormenting this other group, and this other group was thinking that they were incapable of defeating this giant. And he was tormenting them, saying, send us your best. No one can defeat this giant. This giant was named Goliath. There was a young child that got a slingshot. You guys know the story. Got some smooth rocks, and he killed the giant. Not only did he kill this giant, he cut the giant's head off. This kid's name was also David. Then there's another situation where there was a king, and he knew that his position was about to be replaced. And he knew that there was another gentleman up to be king. And he's situated situations for him to be killed multiple times. But God said no. But God said no. As a matter of fact, he situated him to be killed while he was out in battle. But every battle he went into, because he had the favor of God, he won, and then he wound up being king. His name was also David. What I took all of this time to tell you, without going into great detail, because there's a lot more to this story, is the name of the character in all 3 stories was David. And it was the same guy. The same guy. And what I want to tell you, that in story number 1, he was tending to the sheep. Then he winds up slaying giants. And then he winds up being the king. And so when I see you guys and I say, hey, what's happening, my young king? What's happening, my young queen? Remember, it doesn't matter where you are right now. You may be in a mailroom. You may be driving a delivery truck. You may be walking behind a garbage truck because that's your job. And you may be looking at the guy with the suits, right? You may not be a perfect 10. You may not be skinny as a toothpick like all of the girls on the TV. You may not have the prettiest face or the best hair, right? Look at this big blockhead I got. But I want you to know that David had the heart of God. God judges the inward appearance and not the outward appearance. God deals with your heart, what's in your heart, and he doesn't deal with your outward appearance. That's the moral of all 3 stories. And so it was the same guy that wasn't invited to the table. His dad didn't even invite him to the table. He was showing him all his good-looking brothers. Now, David wasn't a bad-looking guy either. But I want to tell you, just like David, is that all you need to do is have the heart of God, right? We talk about money on this channel, but it's what you do with the money that counts. I always sing this song, only what you do for Christ will last. And I'm saying, in your pursuit, if you just be patient and do what's necessary and do the work and you build the generational wealth, you may be the first millionaire in your household. But remember, you got to keep the heart of God. Make sure that your direction is straight. Make sure that you don't fall in love with money, and make sure you do the right things with money. Okay? So that's my message to you, the ones that wasn't invited to the table, the ones that's been passed up on their job, though you're doing all of the work, right? I'm talking to you. Remember the story of David. He wasn't even invited to the table. He was in the mailroom. He was walking behind the garbage truck, right? He was the one passed up for the job. He couldn't afford to go to college. He couldn't afford to finish college, right? I'm talking to you. You, if you have the heart of God, remember, you got some giants to slay, and you will be the king, and you will be the queen. That's what I wanted to leave with you today, because that story of David speaks to me, and I wanted to speak to you. But you got to stay on the grind. It's going to be some hard fights. David went to many battles, okay? And battles are bloody. So every day when you battle, whether it's at your job and you got your coworkers talking about you behind your back, or your boss don't even favor you, he favors the lazy one, you know, all of this type of stuff that's going on. Remember, in your journey to gain financial wealth, that all you really need to do is study hard and work hard and keep the heart of God. And in everything that I do and all of the speaking that I do, I want to keep the heart of God. And so as they do what they do to me on this platform, I'm never going to stop. Hey, I want to thank Angie Ray Ministries, my sisters, Kimberly Ray and Tanya Ray, for inviting me to speak there yesterday. And it was absolutely a beautiful situation, okay? And we'll talk more about that. Man, I'm telling you guys, next year I want to be there, because that convention was absolutely off the chain. Make sure you check out the links below. Invest in yourself, right? Invest, learn, test, earn. I keep saying that. Invest in yourself first. Learn the material. Test the material, and then earn. All right, good people. Sorry if I'm not, if I wasn't as smooth as some of these preachers are. I listen. I'm a student. I love a good speaker, but the message is still the same. When you're having a hard day, remember David. Remember the story of David. Remember, wasn't invited to the table. You know, I come from a big family. You know, I was the only one when I was young that didn't have a godparent. And my older brothers had godparents that would bring them gifts. And I would sit and I would think that, you know, nobody wanted me. God didn't love me as much as he loved my brothers, you know, because they had godparents that brought them gifts and all of this. And, you know, it was back in the day of hand-me-downs. And I was quiet with it, but it did hurt me. And many of you been there. All right. And I thought that success was always good, things was happening for my older brothers, and it wasn't happening for me. Right. If I'm registering with you, leave me a coffee cup or a heart. But I'm telling you, be diligent. Don't give up, because you got giants to slay. You got giants to slay. All right. I love you guys. Live, love, laugh, and learn. Make sure you check out the links below, and we will be back maybe Monday, but yeah, we will be back Monday. So next week, it'll be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'll be traveling yet again, okay? But I love you guys. I'm going to take my time with this one, and hopefully this came through. I'm sorry about all of the stuttering and the repeating, but man, my mind is just flooded with stuff inspirational that I want to talk to you guys about. All right, love you guys. Live, love, laugh, and learn.